Good morning, everyone. It is August 10th, and it's in the late morning, and the day is finally here. An exciting day because it is extremely humid outside, and the dew points are really, really high. This is a rarity here in the Chicago area. Right now, the state of Illinois is the most humid state in the country, and we're seeing dew points. The maximum dew point in the past 12 hours was a sauna-like 84 degrees. It's reporting on one website. Dark Sky says that parts of the Chicago area currently have a dew point of 81 degrees. The National Weather Service weather app says the dew point 78 degrees. Other sources say that the dew point, the official dew point in Chicago is 76 degrees. Midway, according to one site, says the dew point 74 degrees. So it's been a hard time trying to figure out what the dew point is here in the Chicago area. But either way, probably the strongest indicator that we actually do have dew points currently in the upper 70s and even low 80s. Low 80s, imagine that. Low 80 dew points is from the National Weather Service forecast discussion, where it says that dew points today will remain in the upper 70s and low 80s. Remain, meaning they have gone up into the upper 70s and low 80s. AccuWeather.com is reporting maximum dew points to be occurring late this afternoon at 79 degrees. And they have their models a little bit off for right now, though, where they say the dew point at noon will be 71 degrees. But it's already in the upper 70s. But either way, perhaps there are places in Chicago where the dew point is only in the low 70s. And perhaps each weather station is reporting a different dew point. But by late afternoon, dew points will be in the upper 70s, and the National Weather Service has pointed out that there will even be some locations with dew points in the low 80s. This is as high as it can possibly get. The record for Chicago is a dew point of 83 degrees. That's the highest dew point ever recorded in Chicago. So we are approaching record territory here. And what's amazing about this is that it's not just we're approaching record territory, but it also the highest dew points in the country are occurring right over the Chicago area. Now, South Bend, Indiana also is having very high dew points, a little bit less than the Chicago area. Dew points between 75 and 76 degrees. Dew points will likely go a little bit higher as the day progresses. Afternoon heat indices should top out between 95 and 105 for South Bend, Indiana. Heat indices expected to be around 110 area-wide in the Chicago area. A heat advisory is in effect for Chicago, possibly for South Bend as well, until 7 p.m. this evening. Now, the one variable that might mess up this heat is if thunderstorms develop this afternoon. As of now, the thunderstorms are expected to hold off until this evening. Some of those storms could be severe, especially with damaging winds, 55 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts with an AccuWeather max of 80 miles per hour. There also could be an isolated tornado and large hail, but the main thing will be the damaging winds with these storms, and it's unbelievable the amount of humidity. Obviously, the amount of humidity these storms are dealing with is the highest in the world. This is as intense as it gets, really. Probably on par with the monsoon in India. Just about. For a week, the dew points were between 80 and 81 degrees in New Delhi, India. We're seeing dew points here. There are places currently, dew points are in the low 80s in parts of Illinois as we speak. And the maximum dew point, I don't know if this is official or unofficial, was 84 degrees within the past 12 hours here in Illinois. Dew points elsewhere in the country, it is very difficult to find an 80-degree dew point unless you go down into Galveston, Texas, or Corpus Christi, Texas. Otherwise, plenty of upper 70s, lots of upper 70s for dew points. There's an 80-degree dew point here and there in the Iowa area. Dew points of 80 degrees make temperatures feel approximately 20 degrees warmer than what they actually are when the temperature is 90 degrees. Here in Chicago, I think it's safe to say that, the other week we had dew points. Tom Skilling reported a dew point of 78 degrees here in Chicago. If you look in the dark sky weather map, it was 76 degrees. It makes sense. Once one thing happens in a summer, the pattern continues, and we see those dew points again. It would certainly make sense to see dew points between 76 and 78 degrees today. That pushes the heat indices at 16 degrees warmer. Dew point is 78 would make the temperature feel 16 degrees warmer than it actually is. Afternoon high 92 degrees, heat index 108. But AccuWeather is calling for 79 degrees, which would make the temperature feel 18 degrees warmer than they actually are, which would put the heat index at 110. And the National Weather Service is doing the exact same thing because they're calling for heat indices around 110. That's the peak heat index this afternoon, around 110 degrees. And we'll have to see whether dew points are in the low 70s, upper 70s. That's a question right now, depending on where you are. But by late this afternoon, we'll get a real feel. People who want to feel what it's like in India and places like that. Although we're not going to have the excessive heat, temperature is only 90 degrees, and I see all the clouds. Who knows if it's even going to make it that hot? But we will be having sauna-like conditions later on today for sure. In parts of the Chicago area, at least parts of the area, are already experiencing sauna-like conditions, and this is borderline record territory. And for the state of Illinois, there have been records broken already in regards to the humidity. Be prepared for extremely strong thunderstorms. The amount of energy these storms have to work with obviously is off the charts. There's many, many other variables that go into the development of a thunderstorm, and those other variables perhaps are not off the charts. But the dew points certainly, I wouldn't say they're off the charts, but they're very high up on that chart. And temperature is a form of energy, but so is humidity. That's also a form of energy. It's not just temperature, not just air temperature, which is the form of energy. Dew points also are. Both of them transmit energy. They both can energize the thunderstorm. So we're dealing with both high air temperatures and high dew points. Therefore, there certainly is room to say that we could be getting some strong storms later on today. I wish everybody a wonderful day. And the heat is here through Thursday, by the way. It's not going to be as humid, but continued hot and very humid. Just not extremely humid through Thursday. Heat indices of 100 to 106 each day through Thursday. Another extreme heat wave is developing up in the Pacific Northwest. Record heat, no doubt about it. Temperatures will be breaking the records by at least 5 degrees for many cities. 105 for Portland, Oregon later on this week. 98 degrees for Seattle, Washington. That will be breaking the old record of 92 degrees. These 90s and 100s go all the way up into southern Canada. Just boiling hot air up in the Pacific Northwest. I wish everybody a great day. Have a wonderful week.